1, 2, mic check. All right. I hope you guys can hear me loud and clear. Welcome to round 1 of the Delta Racing League's GT3 European Sprint Series. We are back with the 4th season of the GT3 Sprint Series from the DRL, with round 1 happening at the Hungaroring, with qualifying set in to start in around 15 minutes time. And yeah, this is very much a first for me, as it is my very first commentary of a sim racing event. So there you go. Please don't be too harsh on me, guys. I might be a little bit rusty. Sometimes I might screw up some names and whatnot, but yeah, hope you will still enjoy the show. Hello everyone, I'm Thomas Mengozi, aka G Geek, straying away from my zone of comfort for once. I'm mostly an associated, for those of you who don't know me or are new, or who are seeing me for the first time. I am actually a track media commentator, but I'm also apparently a big fan of motorsport, and yeah, I've been wanting to try my hand at commentating sim racing for a fair little bit now. I've been watching, taking notes of which series would be best to start with, and I got the call up from one of my fellow contacts who told me, hey, would you be down to actually come into the sim race? I was like, sure, why not? So here we are on Assetto Corsa Competizione, the official GT World Challenge game. And we're going to be covering a GT3 Sprint race. So this is round 1 of the GT3 European Sprint Series from the Delta Racing League, and yeah, wide variety of cars from a variety of manufacturers featuring players from all across Europe with a wide variety of skill levels as well that are going to be entered in this category. And when I say huge variety of cars, you got your Bentleys, you got your Astons, you got your Ferraris, your Nissans, your Lamborghinis, you even got a Lexus in there, you got your BMWs, you got... Well, there's a ton of cars entered. And yeah, so a race format will be held like this. I don't have graphics up on hand, so yeah, Pac-Man shirt, sexy. Thank you there, Greg. But yeah, so the race format, so the weekend or event format, should I say, is as follows. We are currently in the middle of 3 practice, which started around 45 minutes ago and is set to end in 15 minutes. So yeah, we're in about a quarter of an hour. We're gonna be done with free practice. At 8 p.m. we will have a 15-minute qualifying session, which is used to determine the positions on the grid for the race that follows immediately after qualifying at 20 past 8, and which lasts for 60 minutes plus 1 lap. It is a timed race, ladies and gentlemen, in the GT3 series. Hello, Drac. Hope you're doing well. Long time no see, by the way, Drac. I don't think I've seen you that much. Well, ever since like May or something like that, since I decided to take a bit of a break. I appreciate you crank your voice to pronounce my name as German as possible. I mean, that's just a straight up. That's just me doing me things. Yeah. So 60 minutes plus 1 lap. The top 25 are points paying position. The winner gets 50 points, second place 47, third place 45, 43, 41, and so on and so forth until we get to 25th, who gets a point in the standings. There are 8 rounds in this season of the DRL's GT3 European Sprint Series. Round 1 at the Hungaroring tonight, and yeah, it is set to run through December and January with a bit of a pause at the having a bit of a Christmas break. Hello Nathan, hope you're doing well. Slow down. Regular pace. And yeah, one thing that I will definitely be quick to point out is that I will not potentially be able to commentate, should I say rather, the entire season of the GT3 European Sprint Series due to the commitments of Trackmania that are going to be coming back in January. So yeah, there you go. Fair warning, I will not be able to cover the whole season, but I will try to cover a few races here and there. I mean, I can potentially, theoretically cover up to 6 races this season in the DRL. So yeah, it is indeed something that I'm definitely looking forward to. So I'd suggest that, wrong thing. I'd suggest that we take a look at the game to see exactly what's popping and what is currently going on. So there you go. You should see the game right now. So drivers are currently finishing their warm-up laps, finishing maybe setup work, getting familiar with the car, familiar with the circuit, and everyone is actually preparing themselves for qualifying and bracing themselves for qualifying. So a total of 34 entrants in this first race. Thank you very much, Rosie, for the follow. And yeah, let's actually take a look at some of the contestants. So we got Ersan Yilmaz, a pretty strong driver in his own right. Not really regarded as a potential contender due to his sporadic appearances in races. Let's hope that it will be a change of fortune. Then we've got let me actually change a little bit here. Chris Pica, the inaugural champion of the GT3 European Sprint Series, champion of Season 1. In the GT3 European Series. Then let's actually see on the other names. We've got Pete Ruotsalainen, reigning champion of the GT3 Series for Europe, driving the Aston Martin, driving for Team Ivan 65. Of course, there is actually a really big team that we'll be checking out for sure, and that is Team Shumiskins Racing Porsche. Porsche Racing with, of course, the number 911 car of Chris Pica, Season 1 champion, as we said, but also our very own Shumiskins himself, our Trackmania Skinner, potentially contender for Skinner of the Year, should I say, is driving the number 912 car. Jean-Sébastien Cassingena, of his real name, driving the sister car for the Shumiskins Porsche Racing, driving the Line 11 GT3R. Then let's actually see Timo Ladelma on his way out, currently driving the BMW M6, I think, if I'm not mistaken. GT3 M6 from BMW for Timo Ladelma. Season 3 runner-up. Other players to look out for: Joachim Kjellgren, driving the Mercedes AMG for Team Illuminate. Running down the list of entrants here from people that we can actually follow, we have Fernando Paulino from TWR Motorsports driving the Audi R8 LMS. Gabriel Rezimiewski for Team Hubble Corsa driving the... I'm assuming this is... if I'm not mistaken, that is a 458 GT3, not the 488 that succeeded that particular model. Pontus Carlbom for Illuminate Racing driving the the Mercedes AMG. The 488 and 488 Evos. Okay, my bad. Thank you, Revolution, for correcting me. I'll be honest. I picked up the game. I picked up the game as soon as I heard of that opportunity. I'm kind of familiarizing myself with it. Although I am saying that I'm getting myself fairly nicely acquainted with the broadcasting tool that it comes by default with the game, which is definitely kind of making directing a little bit more fun. Definitely a change from what I see in Trackmania. The 458 was a GT2 car. Ah, interesting. Okay. Interesting. Oh, yeah, right. GT2, yeah, GTE Pro, GTE AM, yeah, 458, yeah, indeed, yeah. I got myself the... That was everything. I got myself all the models mixed up. Is anyone driving a Bentley? I don't think there is any Bentley entered. Or there might be, but I just kind of missed them. Maybe towards the bottom of the leaderboard. People that haven't come out yet. Although we do see a Nissan GTR GT3 car from Aaron Jackson from Thundercross Racing. Currently running down the list of entrants. No Bentley representatives. It seems like we do have a Lexus RCF, if I recall correctly, the model GTR gang. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but that is an RCF, right? Lexus RCF, is that right? From Maciej Sadowski. So let's take a look at the timetable. Oh, we do have all the model names. Great. So yesterday, Mount's driving the 488 GT3 Evo. Then we got yes, Fernando Paulino with the Audi R8 LMS Evo, Chris Piquet with the 911-2 GT3R, then Ferrari, AMR, Aston Martin V8 Vantage for Pete Ruotsalainen. Then of course we find in 8th place Jean-Sébastien Cassingena with the 911 GT3R from the sister car from Chris Piquet, BMW M6. So I was right in the model names. McLaren's 720S GT3 for Oliver Schlöse, sitting in 17th position, running the number 20 car. 2 Honda NSXs in the running as well for Marius Schneider and Rob Franken, who precede immediately the Maciej Sadowski driven Lexus RCF, and I was right again with the model name right here. So you can see the top 24 here in this practice session. Less than 6 minutes to go before qualifying starts. 15-minute qualifying session to set 15 minutes to set a time before to decide the grid positions for the start of the race. And you can see the map of the Hungaroring, situated 20 kilometers northeast of Budapest in Hungary. Site of the Formula 1 Grand Prix since 1986. Originally started construction in 1985. nicknamed Monaco without corners with the drivers due to the tight and twisty nature of the track. It's a huge section of corners that is almost endless, and a width of track that goes between 10 at narrowest to 15 meters at widest. So yeah, not a lot of room for a lot of cars, and you can see there is not that many straights. There's only one big straight in the start-finish straight, but then quite a few short bursts of power, except maybe on the run up from turn 4 and all the way down to turn 14. So to turn 13, 14. So yeah, it is definitely a track where overtaking is pretty tricky, no matter the racing series that you're entered, and qualifying is definitely going to play a huge role in the race result. It's definitely going to be favoring a better race result for those who do qualify pretty well, and race strategy is also going to be pretty important. Now, I would like to reiterate one more time. Now, I know that I always said it plenty of time for this particular instance, that I'm not an expert sim racing caster. Let me just finish it there. I am definitely I'm definitely a beginner. This is my very first sim racing commentary gig, and if you can see some of the French chatter going on, these are just Trackmania members of the community that have watched me cast in both French and English. So yeah, take that for what you will. But yeah, don't be surprised that there are maybe a bit of meme, a few memeous statements going on in this particular race in the chat, with Cloaks saying that Gwen is still got it, and that Moutreau has got the perfect trajectory from Carl. Those are Trackmania players. Don't worry about that. We're not going to get sidetracked by that too often, as we're going to be soon getting started with qualifying 3 minutes before the start of the qualifying session. It's actually checking at the timetable handily enough for the time so far in this practice session. So far, Ersan Yilmaz in the GT3 Evo 488 clocks in at 143.443 at the top of the timesheets. Just behind him, we find actually Schumi, or should I say Jean-Baptiste Cassinghena, in the 911 GT3R with a 143.452, and just 9 thousandths again behind him, Mr. Paolino with the R8 LMS Evo. So yeah, pretty tight gaps at the top of the field. Less than a tenth between first and fourth, with Chris Pica, Casinghena's teammate, rounding off the top 4 with a 143.515. Then the top 10, let's actually see the gaps. You can see around half a second between first and 10th. We're wondering what the actual qualifying pole times and pole pace would actually be for this opening race at the Hungaroring. Let's actually check in on some of the other drivers right now. Darren Baker. It's gonna be an interesting race. A lot of different pace throughout the field. So traffic might be an issue, I suspect. Oh, actually, interesting take, Ghost Zero. Yeah, different pace, variety of different strategies maybe at play. Or if it's is it a 60-minute race? Is there like a pit stop? I'm wondering if there is a pit stop that is actually required for a change of compound. Like, how many laps are the tires expected to last if there is tire? Because I suspect there's tire wear. And yeah, also there's fuel. Oh shit. No mandatory split up as far as you know. Okay, thank you very much, Ghost Zero, for the information. Now we'll go on board with Darren Baker driving the Aston Martin for TWR Motorsports, the Aston Martin V8 Vantage GT3. Coming through to the final sector of the lap right now. Big heavy braking zone right here for turn number 14. Braking as soon as he sees the curb, right, disappearing from the car. Penultimate corner coming up, really slow uptake, really slow through there. You can wait for a little bit late before you go back on the throttle, and then the final corner coming up right now. Back down to turn 1 we go. The last few seconds of free practice are going to be done and dusted right now, so we're going to be heading back to an external view, and we're going to get ready for qualifying, ladies and gentlemen. 50 minutes to try and set a time to get them to get ready for the race happening in 20 minutes time. So the free practice session has just concluded. 3 minutes for all the drivers to finish their lap. Mr. Paolino, actually Fernando Paolino, taking the top of the timesheets with a 143.296, clearing himself 1.5 tenths ahead of Ersan Yilmaz at the top of the timesheets. Kasingena in third place, joined by his teammate Chris Pica. And fifth place for Gabriel Remisiewski, sorry, for the 488 Evo. He'll gonna be slow for 15 minutes in quali. Thank you very much, Ghost Zero, and yeah, excuse the shaky commentary at a few points. So yeah, I'll try my best to cope with it, because usually pretty hectic action going on in the world of the game that I commentate. So yeah, will be interesting to see how I adapt in this new role. So Darren Baker coming up towards the line to clear his lap, going a bit wide at the exit of turn 16, coming across the line. No improvement for Darren Baker, who stays on a lap of 143.632 in 7th place at the end of free practice. So qualifying set to begin in maximum 1 minute and 30 seconds. Everybody has joined back into the pits except for Grantas Carecas from Dark Shade Racing, rounding the final corner, coming across the start-finish line now. And everybody is in the pits. We're ready for qualifying. The green light has been given for qualifying to start. And already immediately Pete Ruotsalainen getting the first position on the track. Thank you, McLean. First position on the track, clean track ahead of him. He's followed by Ladelma in the BMW M6, Matthias Westberg in the V8 Vantage GT3. Then Adrien Stefanello follows him in the Lamborghini Huracan, number 5 car. As apparently we've lost all kind of... There we go. HUD is back on. Really sorry about this, guys, but yeah, we're back. So yeah, qualifying has just started. You can see that the clock is ticking away. 14 minutes before the end of the qualifying session, currently following Adrien Stefanello from 300 ping Motorsport, driving the Lamborghini Huracan, rounding towards the second sector, the chicane of 7 and 8. Really slow chicane where you can actually really easy to actually mess up the exit and actually go a little bit wide and lose a ton of time, or maybe go a little bit too conservative, trying to stay within the limits of the track and thus lose a lot of time as well. And you can be compromised at the exit of that second sector, where it is really twisty, a succession of left-handers and right-handers, where it really is difficult to overtake. The real passing place comes at the braking for turn 14 right here. You can see Stefanello coming around that corner towards the final corner, penultimate corner for Stefanello, but we're going to be going back with Ruotsalainen, Pete Ruotsalainen, on his way to start his qualifying lap. He's already started his qualifying lap. We're going on board with the reigning champion right now. Passing turn 1 cleanly, moving on to turn 3 after going through the king of turn 2. Heavy braking just at the curve for turn 3, down to first gear he goes. Bit of oversteer on the way out, managing to keep it clean. On the way up to turn 5. Dropping down the third gear, pitching the car in pretty early, managing to keep it on the black stuff before turn 6. Then the chicane of 7 and 8 right here. Heavy braking from Ruotsalainen down the first gear. Pitch the car one way, then swap back towards the other way. Make sure to not go too much over the orange curves, as it really unsettles the car and sends him in a little bit of a wiggly motion that could really send you off into the distance on the other side of the road. Coming out of Sector 2 right now for Ruotsalainen, coming up to turn 14 right now. 4th gear, brake as you see the curb. 3rd gear, 2nd gear, down to 1st again as he pitches the car a little bit late, going for a late apex through there. Turn 15 coming up right now. You are waiting for so long until he can get back on the power. Final corner coming up, 2nd gear for Ruotsalainen through there, keeping it really nice and tidy across the apex and across the start-finish line. He is coming now to log in a benchmark time of 1:43.848. This will be your reference time for the start of qualifying, and immediately beaten by Darren Baker with the 1:43.440. Then we've got Jürgen Remers in the 488 Evo from Rothhard Emperor, driving a 45.981. Not a really huge time from here. You can see that the ultimate pace is 43.4. Could be even lower than that. Maybe we could see a 0.1 coming up at one point or the other in the session. Players are currently getting their banker time in, or drivers, should I say, are getting their banker time here. Matthias Westberg, one of the latest to do that in the V8 Vantage from Westberg Motorsport, driving a 45.195, currently down to P7. Chris Picca in the 911 from Schumi Skins Porsche Racing, number 911, 43.883, and his teammate Kassingena has improved to a 43.398, taking second, with Ersan Yilmaz taking the lead of the charts with a 1:43.359. He leads by only half a tenth from Kassingena in second position. So Ersan Yilmaz already jumping to this top of the leaderboard in his 488 Evo. He might be on the push for another lap right now. Currently following, let's see, Jeroen, not Jeroen Remmers, Jesper Roelands, apparently driving the Lamborghini Huracan for Hunt 'Em Down Racing. Currently sitting 20th with a time of 1:46.638. Might have been just a banker time. Might be on the fast lap right now. Going on board with the driver. Seeing over the back, over the rear wing of the number 824 Huracan. With Ersan Yilmaz, the current leader of the standings, just behind him. Actually, I say that, but Darren Baker has improved the mark to 1:43.287 to take the lead away from Ersan Yilmaz. Jesper rounding the final corner. Jesper Roelands coming across the start-finish straight, crossing the line, and he will improve to a time of 1:45.591, if I recall correctly, but still not really big improvement happening, but it might be a deleted time since that did not improve his position. Darren Baker managing to actually compete for the lead overall in the standings with the 1:43.287. He's around a tenth faster, 700 quicker than Ersan Yilmaz in second position. The Ferrari driver looking to get another time in and trying to dislodge Baker from the top of the timesheets. Let's actually follow Chris Picca going through turn 4. On his way through to turn 5, the blue flag being waved to the man in front of Picca. Who is that? That is a purple McLaren. It is Carecas, Grantas Carecas, driving the number 7, number 9 720 GT3 McLaren, currently sitting in P10 in the standings. Ersan Yilmaz has returned to the pits, so he will not be going for another fast lap attempt just yet. Picca rounding the final few sets of corners. Kassingena is a little bit further behind him, so we're going to be waiting until we switch back to Jean-Sébastien Kassingena. Oh, it was Kai Gulliver, the number 117, who went wide, and Picca goes wide as well, so that's going to be his lap in the gutter. Maybe it was just a preparation lap, and he sees Gulliver go past him again, so this might cause some trouble if Gulliver is going to be on another slow lap, or if he is then definitely going to be on a flyer. Picca across the line. Yes, indeed. It might have been just an outlap from Picca here. Going back on board with Chris Pica right now. Following Gulliver in the black and green Aston. Rounding turn 3, managing to keep it planted, and he has quite released his effort, it seems. Not really going for a fast lap again. Fernando Paulino just dislodged Ersan Yilmaz from P2. The Audi driver from TWR Motorsports driving a 1:43.353 to move himself into second place. He's just 6 thousandths ahead of Ersan Yilmaz. Yilmaz at the side of the road, potentially waiting for other people to actually come by. Let's actually check in on the track map here. From right now, Ersan Yilmaz will be able to pull off and rejoin the track safely, even though the number 20 car is going to have to slow down a fair bit. The number 20, let's actually see, it is Oliver Schlösel driving the McLaren 720 GT3. 1:44.952 so far for the driver. Currently sitting in 22nd position. Only man not to set a time is John Schramm, the number 42. Actually, no, that's a 35th entry, so yeah, 44 entries in the end. Everybody's currently setting a time. The worst lap so far from Hansa Krupika with a 1:48.456, driving the Nissan GTR. As we're heading back to the perspective of Darren Baker. Attacking into turn 1, dropping down the first gear, going for a bit of a late apex through the air. Fourth gear, braking as soon as you see the right-hand side of the road fall away, the curb fall away from the windscreen. Almost everybody's on the track except for the number 721 Sam Angel driving the GTR, and Carecas has also come back into the pits. Number 9 McLaren. 4 minutes and 50 seconds to and 43 seconds to go in this qualifying session. Baker going a little bit over the curb through there, maybe a bit aggressive on the curb, making the car move up on 2 wheels. It will be interesting to see whether or not this will be an improvement for the driver from TWR Motorsports. Having a bit of a moment maybe through turn 13, as I could get a bit of a glance from there as I keep an eye on the on my broadcasting broadcasting climb from Assetto Corsa. Turn 15, backing it into the corner. Wait before you can go back on the power progressively. Final corner coming up, second gear for Darren Baker. A few corrections on the wheel, not any oversteer on the way out, and he comes across the line to log a 43.791. No improvement so far from Darren Baker. Let's actually check in on some of the other contenders. Jean-Sébastien Cassinguena coming around the start-finish straight to cross the start-finish line. No improvement. Maybe it would have been an outlap for Jean-Sébastien Cassinguena here. As we're going to be following him for this lap. 3 minutes and 20 seconds to go. We could see some drivers having a bit of trouble and going off the track, as you can see from the yellow lights on the top of the screen, with the yellow flag being waved in a few portions, but almost instantly being revoked. You can see that there's another yellow flag being popped in. Track once again clear as Cassinguena comes through the turn 7 and 8. Going a little bit wide in turn 6. Back on board with the Frenchman. Lifting a little bit on his way through turn 12, dropping down the third gear for turn 13. Managing to keep it nice and planted on the road. Turn 14 coming up. Cassinguena dropping all the way down the first gear as well. Turn 15. Pitching the car, getting to roll around the apex again, waiting forever until he can get his foot back on the throttle. Final corner coming up. Will that be an improvement? The time looks somewhat good. 143.053 for Darren Baker. Meanwhile, up front, and Kasingena unfortunately does not make a substantial improvement. 144.241. No improvement for Kasingena. Meanwhile, his teammate Chris Pica improved to P2 just before he came back to the pits with a 143.173 to his name. Darren Baker taking the provisional pole right now with 140 seconds to go in this qualifying session, but Ersan Yilmaz could be determined to actually bump him off of that said pole position, following the perspective of Ersan Yilmaz in the Ferrari 488, number 79. All the way up to turn 5. Onto the chicane of 7 and 8 for Yilmaz. Going a little bit over the orange curves and managing to keep the car nice and flush. Not too much, not too aggressive of the curves. He's currently on an improvement of 0.2 compared to his previous lap, compared to his best lap right now, which would put him up into second place. Let's actually check in on board with the Ferrari driver. And that delta has nullified. It might not be an improvement in the end for Yilmaz. Final 15 seconds to go. The final laps are going to be coming in. Pica and Baker are in the pits. Yilmaz is around to come around the final corner and come across the start-finish line to get his time done. An improvement of 2/10. This could be enough to propel him into the lead. Let's actually see over the line. Yilmaz will not be able to pit Baker off the lead with a time of 143.110. He moves up into second place ahead of Chris Pica. Let's actually see Fernando Paulino on his way to finish his lap. Qualifying is well and truly over. Kjellgren, Taren, and Yilmaz have already completed their laps. Darren Baker could very well and truly be on pole position, but it's not over yet. Fernando Paulino with an improvement of 2 to 3/10. This could very well be a pole position worthy lap, or even a front row lap from Fernando Paulino right here as he comes around the final few corners. Turn 14 coming up, dropping down to second gear, first gear then. Checker flag having been waved. Remiziewski moving up to P8. Caracas up into P7. Oh, bit of a wide exit from turn 15 from Paulino there. Final corner, waiting forever. Is it going to be costing him too much time? Let's actually see over the line how this will fare. And he will be P3, just ahead of Chris Pica with a 143.146. So this will be your top 24 after qualifying. Darren Baker taking the pole position for this race with a 143.053, just half a tenth ahead of Ersan Yilmaz in the GT3 Evo. Fernando Paulino in third place will start alongside Chris Pica. Then Jean-Sébastien Kasingena will start in 5th place. 6th place for Pete Ruotsalainen. Then Grantas Carecas in 7th place, just ahead of Gabriel Remiziewski. And Joachim Kjellgren in P9 will start alongside Carl Baum in P10. Then Nigel Taren and Eric Enman on the 6th row. Ladelma and Kai Gulliver on the 7th row. Adrian Stefanello and Ron Franken on the 8th row. 9th row for Jürgen Reimers and Matthias Westberg. 10th row for Sam Angel and Ataberg Ertan. 11th row for Oliver Schulze and John Schulze. 12th row for Mari Schneider and Maciej Sadowski. 13th row for Aaron Jackson and Jesper Röland. 14th row for Aaron Jesper Jewsbury and William Barbosa. 15th row for Robert Constantin and Paco Marchante. 16th row for Arjen Lurin de Jong and Honza Krupika. And finally, the final row comprised of John Foster and Ricky Court. Race set to start in 2 minutes. Remember, we're going to be going on for a 60 minutes plus 1 lap race. We're going to be starting, it seems like, on the grid, as you can see here. Baker and Yilmaz on the front row. Paulino and Pika just behind them. So, qualifying done. We're getting started in 1 minute and 30 seconds. 90 seconds before the start of the race. I hope you guys are having a good time. Let me just grab my water bottle. Ooh, it's running low. It's actually running low. People saying there are good lucks in the chat. Good luck, have fun. Matthias Westberg asking Chris Pecca to not give any punts. Please, no punterino. That is a line that I know well. The final 60 seconds before the start of the race. 1 hour you can see on the top of your screen. As we're going to be following, let's see if I can actually get back to the broadcasting flag. There it is. So I hope you guys are having a good time and are enjoying this rather unusual broadcast. For those of you who come in here from the Trackmania cast and whatnot, this is the opening round of the Delta Racing League's GT3 European Sprint Series at the Hungaroring. We're set to start in 30 seconds time. Ersan Yilmaz in the 488 Evo starts in the second place, in the front row. Alongside him, Darren Baker from TWR Motorsports in the V8 Vantage GT3 taking pole position. Huh. I don't know, Revolution. We'll have to wait and see. So, everybody double file for the start of the formation lap. Baker in front of Yilmaz. Everybody starting their formation lap. Let's actually get a chance to circle through the contestants. Eric Engman from using the number 888 car from the Orange One FFF Racing Team. Starting in 12th position, just alongside Nigel Towering, driving the yellow number 3 AMG GT3 from 404 Grip Not Found. Timu Ladelma, the Season 3 runner-up, driving the BMW M6, carrying the number 10 from the BMW Valkenhaus Motorsports, starting in P13. Let's actually see some of the other people here. John Schulze, driving the McLaren 720S GT3 from PogChamp Racing, driving the black, red, yellow number 2 McLaren. Ataberk Ertan, driving the Ping Pong Racing number 14 BMW M6. Sam Angel, driving the number 721 Nissan GTR GT3. And just ahead of him, Matthias Westberg, driving the blue and yellow number 26 AMR V8 Vantage GT3 from Westberg Motorsport, engaging under his own name. Then a little bit further up front, Grantas Carecas in P7, driving the purple, the dark blue and purple McLaren 720S GT3 from Dark Shade Racing. Jean-Sébastien Cassinguena, driving the white, blue, and black number 9012 911-2 GT3R from Shumiskin Porsche Racing, starting just behind his teammate Chris Pecca, driving the number 911 911 GT3R. Fernando Paulino, lately in the session getting P3 in the standings in his Audi R8 LMS Evo from TWR Motorsports. He will be starting right one row behind his teammate Darren Baker in the V8 Vantage from TWR Motorsports on pole. Everybody lining up double file through the final 2 corners. We're soon getting started with the race. Hope you guys are ready. Hope you're comfy. We're about to get started for 60 minutes of hard racing here in Budapest. It is 25 past 8 in Central European time. Paulino just behind his teammate Baker. Everybody remaining double file through the entire lap. They're coming around the start-finish straight right now. And the race is underway. We're racing at the Hungaroring. Good start from Emerson Yilmaz and Darren Baker right now. Potentially another start from Paulino as well. Let's actually check in on Paulino right now. Paulino underneath both Yilmaz and Baker, trying to move to P2, and he takes P2 potentially for the lead in turn 1, but no. Baker manages to keep it outside, and Kassengena moving up to P3, challenging with Paulino right now for P2. Let's actually check in on the onboard from Paulino right now as he sits inside behind his teammate Baker, and Kassengena up the inside of turn 3, but he's going to go a bit too wide, and so he's going to get the cutback. Oh, he gets actually forced out wide by Paulino. Will he get forced out wide by another person? No. He stays in P3 so far, but behind it's a little bit of a bumping and boring with Chris Picca in P4 right now with Pete Ruotsalainen as well. Meanwhile, Jeren Reimers from Rothhard Emperor being forced out wide by the PogChamp Racing from Sean Schulze, it seems like. And currently, Ersan Yilmaz retains the lead with Aaron Jackson a little bit further behind. We see that the Spectator is having a bit of trouble following all the action of the race. But yeah, Paulino stays in P2, Kassengena in P3, and apparently Joachim Kielgren managed to overtake Chris Picca and move up into P4. Actually, Chris Picca has moved down quite a few places. He's not even behind his teammate Kassengena anymore. He's down in P7 as Grantas Carecas moved up to P5 and Pete Ruotsalainen in P6. Carecas on the back bumper of Kielgren at the end of the first lap. Right now towards the leaders we go. Darren Baker retaining the lead from a rather chaotic start with his teammate Paulino almost trying to go around the outside of turn 1 for the lead. But Darren Baker in the AMR V12 Vantage takes the first lap in the lead in front of Paulino, then Kassengena in 3rd, Joachim Kielgren in 4th, Carecas in 5th, Ruotsalainen in 6th, Picca 7th, Taran 8th, Remiziewski 9th, and Carlbaum in P10 right now to complete the top 10. Then just behind him we find Timu Ladelma from the number 10 M6 just behind Pontus Carlbaum. Currently also trying to fend off the attacks of Erik Enman in the Lamborghini behind him. Pretty hectic first lap with a few incidents throughout the field, with the one that we saw live from Jeren Reimers being forced out wide by, I couldn't quite see who it was. I'm assuming it was John Schulze from the number 2 PogChamp Racing McLaren that actually forced him out wide on the way through turn 5. But yeah, Jeren Reimers down in 21st in the number 8 Rothhard Emperor Ferrari. And towards the back end of the field, oh, what's happened with Ersan Yilmaz? Yeah, Yilmaz is no longer in the contention. Yeah, Ersan Yilmaz as well and truly had a bit of a hairy moment at the start of the race, and he finds himself in 32nd place. You can see that the I wonder if that is just the skin or if there is a little bit of damage to the car. Yeah, it seems that there are a few battle scars on the Yilmaz's Ferrari, so yeah, there might have been a few shenanigans going on for Ersan Yilmaz. Or it might just be the spectator one kind of cutting me here, but yeah, currently Yilmaz not where he wants to be. As towards the front, let's actually follow Chris Picca down in P7 after his start. He started in P4, remember, in this race, and now he finds himself down 3 places down after the space of 2 laps. Currently, his teammate Kassengena is around 1.5 seconds down on the leader, which is currently Darren Baker from Team TWR Motorsports. Chris Picca trying to catch up to Pete Ruotsalainen in the number 333 Aston Martin Team Eiffel 65, from Team Eiffel 65, who himself is currently challenging for P5. Grantas Carecas in the number 9 McLaren, and currently trying to pile the pressure on the McLaren driver, trying to push him to make a mistake and potentially reap the benefits with an easy overtake. Let's actually try to check in on some of the cameras that are there. Right on the bonnet of Pete Ruotsalainen, you can see Carecas just in front of it, and then a little bit further in front of him is Joachim Kielgren in the number 294 green and white AMG. Through turn 6, not really any place to overtake in the second sector right here unless you're willing to go for the big send down the inside. 7 and 8, it's not going to be the place for overtaking right now. Managing to keep it. A bit of two-wheel action on there, but still really generous use, really gentle use of the curbs. And so far, the gap seems somewhat stable for between Ruotsalainen and Carreras, around 3 to 4 tenths of a second between these two drivers as they head into turn number 14. Bjellgren trying to also defend off the attack of Carreras, who himself is under pressure from Ruotsalainen. Switching contenders a little bit. Let's actually check in on the leader, Darren Baker, in the leading car, the AMRV Advantage from TWR Number Sports, number 420. Finishing his third lap. Time of 1:44.181 for him. You can see 1.1 second behind we find Fernando Paulino in the sister car, the Audi R8 LMS Evo from TWR Number Sport, number 25. And then a few tenths behind him we find Jean-Sébastien Cassinguena from Shumiskin's Porsche Racing, number 912, 911 GT3R. Now, the next task for Cassinguena is to try and catch up to Paulino and Baker up front, but the gap has widened somewhat at the next sector for Cassinguena in favor of Paulino. The gap was around 6 tenths of a second heading into lap number 4, but now it is over a second between Cassinguena and Paulino, with Paulino currently in second place. Or actually it's a 2-second gap. I completely misjudged that. I thought it was gap deleted, but no, it's interval. A 2.2-second gap so between Cassinguena and Paulino in second and third respectively. Meanwhile, a little bit outside the top 10, a little bit further down in the ranking, we're currently checking out on Teemu Ladelma's progression. Currently sitting in P11. Really sorry for the kind of jumps in the camera sometimes. It might be my connection playing havoc a little bit, but I hope it does not really drop out all of a sudden. Yeah, Teemu Ladelma currently sitting in P11, trying to currently sitting in P11, trying to fend off the attacks of Erik Edman, trying to catch up to Pontus Carlbom. Currently the gap between Carlbom and Delma, 1.2 seconds in favor of the number 6 AMG. And Ladelma sees bigger in his mirrors the Lamborghini from Engman, underbraking for turn 1, but still retains the lead. Let's actually check it on some of the other makes that we haven't seen that much thus far. We focused on Astons, we focused on BMWs, Ferraris, and whatnot. Let's actually check in on the first Honda in the ranking, that of Rob Franken from Scuderia Alpha Tauri, driving the number 101 car. The number 101 NSX currently sitting in P14. Oh, actually dropping down to P16 after being overtaken by Andrea Stefanello and Oliver Schlösel. This is the first place. This is the highest placed Honda in this race so far, and the highest placed Nissan. You can see it in 24th in the standings. That being let me actually see the full name. Aaron Jackson in the number 99 Thundercross Racing Nissan GTR GT3, currently sitting in P25 after Ersan Yilmaz overtook him. So Ersan Yilmaz up to 24th position already, trying to make his comeback, trying to recover from a really chaotic start that saw him drop down to the depths of the leaderboard at the start of the race, thanks to contact with some of his fellow competitors, and try to do some damage limitation. Right now he is in the points and currently sitting in P24, which would reward 3 points in the championship standings for Yilmaz, sorry. Clean E. Well, I'm trying to get my my pronunciation good for the German stuff and whatnot. So yeah, I'm trying as best as I can. So yeah, after 5 laps completed, Darren Baker still solidly in the lead. 10 minutes into the race, Fernando Paulino 1.2 seconds behind his teammate in second place. Then Jean-Sébastien Cassinguena in third place, 2.3 seconds behind Paulino, so around 5 seconds down on the leader, around 4 seconds down, should I say, rather, on the leader. Then we got Grantas Carecas moving up into P4. Pete Ruotsalainen in P5. Joachim Kjellgren having dropped 2 places in the space of a few laps to both Carecas and Ruotsalainen, so he's down in P6. And right now, hot on his heels is Chris Picca in the sister car from Casengena, the number 911 GT3R. Trying to pile the pressure on Kjellgren. Only half a second between Picca and Kjellgren at this point. As we're heading into lap 6, we're 10 minutes already into the race, 15 minutes to go in the 60 minutes plus 1 lap race, sprint race around the Hungaroring. Following the perspective of Picca at the moment. Whoa, really braking extremely late through here. Seeing the car of Kjellgren going bigger and bigger here. On the way to turn 3. Still a gap of around 4/10 at the crossing of the start-finish line between the 2 drivers. Kjellgren looking to maintain that gap and trying to potentially extend that gap a little bit further. Kjellgren half a second between himself and Picca. Picca going a bit more brave in turn 5. 2 AMGs sandwiching 1 Porsche. The other AMG is that of Nigel Taran in P8, driving the number 3 404 Not Found team. Entered AMG GT3. And actually up front we can see a battle between Carecas and Ruotsalainen a little bit again. Gap of 3/10 between the 2 drivers. P4, this is a battle for 4th place right now. 41 points at stake for a 4th place finish versus 39 for a 3rd place finish. Or no, 43 for a 4th place finish, 41 for a 5th place finish. Sorry about that. Whoa, Carecas going a bit wider compared to Ruotsalainen. Will that drop him too much momentum, and will that actually cost him 4th place overall? Ruotsalainen in the slipstream of Carecas, not really making big significant in-gains, so actually trying to intimidate him, showing himself in the mirrors of Carecas, under-braking for turn 1, trying to force him to make a mistake and out-brake himself into the corner, but so far it has not paid off. Grantas Carecas remaining in P4 right now with Pete Ruotsalainen just behind him, 2.8 tenths down. Let's actually see some of the other battles on track. Let's actually spectate the point of view of Pontus Carlbom, the number 6 AMG from Illuminate Racing, currently trying to catch up the Ferrari of Gabriel Remiziewski up front. The number 59 Ferrari currently sitting in P9. Then further half a second up, we got Chris Picca. Actually, Chris Picca has dropped quite a few places, and he finds himself down in P10, even behind Carlbom, in P9 behind Carlbom, and there was even a bigger mistake from one of the other top contenders, as yeah, I completely missed that. Sorry about that. And Timo Ladelma moves up into the top 10, and we can see in the top in the scoreboard that Ersan Yilmaz has returned to the top 23. Let's actually check in on the Ferrari driver. There he is, currently trying to catch up to Aaron Dewsbury in the AMG up front, the number 73 AMG through 7 and 8. A bit aggressive over the orange curve at the entry to 7. But Ersan Yilmaz catching ever closer to Dewsbury, and Dewsbury going wide will facilitate the move for Ersan Yilmaz, who moves up to 21st place just before the end of Sector 2. Now, next up for him will be to catch Jeroen Remmers, who is 9.4 seconds up the road from Yilmaz. Just right here. Exit to turn 14 for Yilmaz, entry to turn 16 for Remmers. As we're going to be checking back up front right now with Casengena. 1.8 seconds down on Fernando Paolino, trying to catch up to the Audi in front. Managed to get 4/10 in the previous laps, but so far the pace is not enough to actually be able to be of any challenge for P2 at the moment. And the gap again widening at the end of sector 1 to 2 seconds in favor of Paolino versus Kassengena right here. Following now, Gabriel Remiziewski, number 59, Havaro Corsa engaged for AJ Devo. Just behind him, you can see Pontus Karlbom in the blue and yellow number 6 AMG GT3. Then you see the other AMG sandwiching the Ferrari of Joachim Kjellgren, the number 294. And I'm really sorry about the quick jumps in directions there. It might have been my connection that's kind of playing havoc with the perspective sometimes, but. Yeah, I hope that you guys are still enjoying the show. Darren Baker, meanwhile, coming around the final corner to start lap number 10 of this race. We're 25% all the way through the race already. 1:44.460, the latest lap time from Darren Baker. 2.2 seconds behind we find the Audi R8 of Paolino. Following the onboard perspective of Paolino, the cockpit cam as we see, we're going to be able to see the inputs of the driver. Down to third gear, pitching the car in early, on the way to turn 6, dropping down to second gear, keeping it low in the revs. Watch out for the exit of turn 6, then turn 7 coming up. Dropping it down to first gear before attacking the orange curve on the inside. Make sure not to go too much over the curve as it could really unsettle the car quite easily. Now through the rest of the second sector right here. Really twisty section. Really technical section where you need good placement of the car to make it through the corner at an optimal rate. Now the final 3 corners of the racetrack. Down to first gear. Clipping the apex on the way through. A bit of a correction on the way out, but still managed to keep it out. Then turn 15, you can see feeding the wheel, then wait till you're past midway through the corner before you can roll onto the throttle. Same kiss right here with turn number 16, the final corner. As we're coming across the start-finish line right now to clock in a 44.697. That was an onboard lap of the Hungaroring from the perspective of Fernando Paolino. Now from the perspective of another car, that of the Porsche of Jean-Sébastien Kassengena. Gaps seem to be somewhat stable lap for lap. 1.8 seconds between Paolino and Kassengena at the start of each new lap, and Kassengena braking quite late into turn 3 and actually running a bit wider, it seems like, than Paolino into turn 3, which would explain that the gap somewhat widens in favor of Paolino every time they go through sector 1. Onto turn 6, trying to get the car pitched in really early, and then trying to work out the back end midway through the corner. Attack of the curve. Oh, a bit of a wide run out there at the exit of the chicane from Paolino. This could potentially be the cue for Kassengena to try and catch up. We're going to have to follow the gaps at the end of sector 2 coming up right now. Paolino seems to have dropped a bit of time compared to his teammate and allows Kassengena to move within 1.5 seconds now. So yeah, definitely a bit of time lost there. Not too much for Paolino to worry about, but definitely a bit of a free warning for Paolino in that circumstance versus Kassengena. Kassengena across the finish line to start lap 12. 144.604. So yeah, we're seeing 144.6s, 144.5s in terms of race pace right now. 144.6 is 144.5s in terms of race pace right now. 144.6 is 144.5s in terms of race pace right now. 144.6 is 144.5s in terms of race pace right now. 144.6 is 144.5s in terms of race pace right now. 144.6 is 144.5s in terms of race pace right now. 144.6 is 144.5s in terms of race pace right now. 144.6 is 144.5s in terms of race pace right now. 144.6 is 144.5s in terms of race pace right now. 144.6 is 144.5s in terms of race pace right now. 144.6 is 144.5s in terms of race pace right now. 144.6 is 144.5s in terms of race pace right now. 144.6 is 144.5s in terms of race pace right now. 144.6 is 144.5s in terms of race pace right now. 144.6 is 144.5s in terms of race pace right now. 144.6 is 144.5s in terms of race pace right now. 144.6 is 144.5s with the current exception that in the last lap of 145.375 from Grantas Carreras, who's under threat from Ruotsalainen in the Aston Martin. Again, the battle for P4 continues to rage on between these two drivers. Ruotsalainen trying to catch back up to Carreras into turn 3. You can see that the gap is now well within half a second, 3.5 tenths between Carreras and Ruotsalainen. Under braking, managing to avoid contact with Carreras into turn 6. Into turn 7, is he gonna try to go for the overtake at turn 7? No, he just shows himself in the mirrors and then ducks back into the slipstream. Oh, actually Carreras going a little bit too much over the curb there. I'm wondering if there's gonna be some track limit enforcing for Carreras here in this instance. Ruotsalainen is right within his back bumper though. Ruotsalainen trying to pull alongside of Carreras. He's going to try to get the overtake done before turn 14. Carreras tucks on the inside. He's going to try to fend off the attacks and cover the inside of Ruotsalainen. Ruotsalainen is going to try to go potentially for the cutback at the exit of turn 14. It has not paid off. They're both running wide. Maybe a bit of a bump on the way into turn 15. Not quite. Actually, Ruotsalainen on the inside. He's going to have the line, and he moves up into P4 at the expense of Grantas Carreras in the McLaren. Nice setup from Ruotsalainen here into turn 15. Even though he ran a bit wide at the exit of the preceding corner, he moves up into P4 at the expense of Carreras. Now, next up ahead will be Kassingena, although there's quite a bit of work ahead of him to catch up to the Frenchman, as there is a 7.3 second gap between 3rd and 4th right now. Kassingena is actually catching up quite a bit to Paolino. Paolino's advantage has actually somewhat shrunk from 1.8 seconds a few laps ago to 1.1 second in favor of the number 25 Audi R8. So yeah, it could very well be a battle for second position that is on. And so far, Darren Baker is firmly in the lead with a 2.5 second gap. He's managing to control the gap solidly up front. Coming through 7 and 8 right now. Managing to keep it nice over the curbs. Meanwhile, let's actually follow from the hood of Kassingena's 911. He can sense that Paolino is right within striking distance. He can sense that there's an opportunity potentially to make up another place, try to move up into P2 and try to set off in pursuit of Darren Baker in the lead. Paolino is losing time compared to his teammate. He's losing half a second, sorry, in the second sector alone on this lap. So yeah, Paolino could very well be under threat from Kassingena in a few moments time here. .144.661 for Kassingena on this lap, on his way to lap number 14. Paolino half a second up the road. Whoa! And actually, Kassingena going a bit too hot in there, trying to outbrake himself so late. He outbraked himself into turn 1, and that's going to give Paolino a little bit of room to breathe. That was indeed not how to try and get someone under braking from Kassingena right here. He drops significant time. The gaps is going to widen surely over the second, as we have someone who is a little bit getting a lap down actually. Yeah, indeed, 1.9 seconds for Kassingena, 1.4 seconds lost in this, just in that single mistake. In that lap car that you saw was the McLaren of Robert Constantin in last place, number 98, trailing at the back of the field, getting a lap down on the leaders. And this mistake from Kassingena also allows Ruotsalainen to somewhat shrink the gap, 6.1 seconds between Kassingena and Ruotsalainen. Remiziewski, meanwhile, sitting in P6, trying to catch up to Carreras, and actually he's trying to make looks like he seems to have made a junction over the course of the first 2 sectors of lap number 14. The number 59 Ferrari trying to move up to P5, Constantin getting out of the way of the leaders. Will there be a move coming from Remiziewski? Not quite. He's not close enough to actually make a maneuver. But maybe this could happen in the straight if he's feeling brave enough to try and brake later than Caracas on the way to turn 1. Lap 15 right now. Caracas in 5th. Remizevski in 6th. Will he try to go for the big send up turn 1? It doesn't seem like it. He's a bit too far. He just tries to show himself in the mirrors of Caracas up front and just thinks about the move to take it for at another time. Maybe a bit of a better exit from Remizevski compared to Caracas at the exit of turn 1. Will there be a setup for turn 3? Will there be a cutback from Remizevski? Not quite. They're staying well within each other's striking distance, one following the other. Remizevski still sitting in 6th position right now on the way up to turn 4. Or turn 5, should I say. Caracas a little bit wide on the grass at the exit of turn 8. And dropping a bit of time compared to Remizevski just behind him, so the battle's still on for 5th place at the moment. Meanwhile, Casingena is trying to claw back the lost time to Paolino. He's managed to reel the gap back into 1.4 seconds behind Paolino in 2nd place, so definitely something to keep an eye out on. As we're moving back to the helicam now for a perspective of the battle for 5th place between Kantas Caracas and Gabriel Remizevski. Remizevski maybe a bit too far to try and move into turn 1, just showing himself in the mirrors of Caracas again. Oh, actually, Caracas going a bit wide, so that's going to allow Remizevski to come alongside him. A bit of a wide exit from there from Caracas. He's going to try to cover the inside of turn 3 and prevent Remizevski from moving through. Remizevski around the outside, forced a little bit wide, and so Caracas keeps the place for now at the very least. Although it looked a little bit like Remizevski would have had that 5th place in the bag at the exit of turn 1 thanks to the wide exit from Caracas into turn 1. But yeah, Remizevski looking like he might have the upper hand on pace compared to Caracas in 5th place. Let's actually try to check in a little bit further down the leaderboard. Currently, let's actually see. The top 10 is held by Eric Endman, still following closely Timo Ladema, now challenging for P9. And ahead of these guys is, 3 seconds ahead of Ladema is Chris Picca, teammate of Casingena, currently sitting in P8 in the number 911 car. And actually, Chris Picca is trying to catch up to P7, currently held by Pontus Karlbom in the number 6 AMG. So still maybe a few fights for positions that are currently brewing, but the closest fight right now is for P9, as there are 3 or 4 drivers within each other right now. Let's actually follow the perspective of the last one in that little train. Nigel Tarrant for 404, grip not found in the number 3 AMG. You can see up front then is Kai Gulliver, then we got Eric Endman and Timo Ladelma. This could very well go to a showdown in turn 1 for some of these people. Let's actually check in on Gulliver in the number 117 V8 Vantage. We can see Engman trying to get closer and closer to Ladema. Now Delma before turn 1. Will there be a move on the braking? Not quite. Ladema still manages to retain. Engman cuts off Gulliver and retains P10 at the present moment. But look at this. The battle between Engman and Ladema. Engman trying to go one side and then the other, trying to find a way past him before turn 3, but it's not really paying out so far for the Lamborghini driver. Ladelma still retains in P9 and is kind of starting to back up other drivers a little bit, with currently the last of that Ford group being Nigel Tarrant, but potentially allowing Adrien Stefanello to catch up to them and make this a 5-man fight for the top 10 positions. Meanwhile, let's actually check in on some of the other drivers. Checking in on Ersan Yilmaz, trying to catch up for a top 20 position for trying to dislodge Jürgen Reimers. 2.7 seconds of a gap between Reimers and Yilmaz in 20th and 21st as of lap number 17, should I say? I think it is number 17. Meanwhile, Darren Baker is 4.5 seconds ahead of Paolino, who seems to have dropped a bit of time, and he's now, well, again under threat from Casingena, who's now 0.4 of a second. Now, here's to wonder whether or not the lesson from the previous few laps has been learned from the Frenchman, who has outbraked himself quite severely into turn 1, going down the inside, showing himself in the mirrors, trying to force Paolino to outbrake himself. It's not paying off so far. Casingena stays in 3rd place right now. As you can hear the spotter, halfway through the race already. 30 minutes of racing to go at the opening round of the GT3 European Sprint Series. Paolino going a bit wide. Also, huge break, hard braking from Casingena in the Porsche behind him. Maintaining the gap to around 0.3 of a second from Paolino, so keeping within close touching distance of the Audi in front of him after sector number 1 and 2. Sector number 1, should I say rather. Turn 7 and 8 coming up right now. A bit of a cautious approach to the curves by Casingena here in this chicane. Same for Paolino, who might have run out a little bit wide a little bit earlier on. Oh, Paolino forced to drop a little bit at the exit of sector 2. Turn 14 coming up. Casingena coming really close to Paolino's back bumper right here. And they're seeing Darren Baker sailing away in the lead with 4.6 seconds of a gap to the battle for 2nd place for Darren Baker right here. Cleaner exit from Paolino compared to Casingena will allow him to open the gap a little bit of the start-finish line to half a second compared to the Schumi Skins Porsche Racing number 912. Porsche 911 right here from Casingena. So far, the battle stays on. Let's actually check back in on P6 right now from Gabriel Remizewski, who is within 3/10 of Grantas Carecas. Will he try to go for the ultimate send? Not quite. Oh, that's quite the late braking there from Gabriel Remizewski to come back across the back bumper of Carecas, but a bit of a squirrely car at the exit of turn 1 will allow Carecas a bit of room to breathe even before turn 3 has come through. And you can see Pontus Karlbom actually trying to make it himself the winner of that situation. You can see there is the battle for P5 right ahead of him. He's in P7. He could very well benefit with not 1 but potentially 2 positions in case of a collision between the 2 drivers. The driver from the number 6 Illuminate Racing AMG GT3 right now sitting in a prime position to at least make a place up on the leaderboard right now. Coming through 7 and 8 right now for Carecas and Remizewski with Pontus Karlbom behind them. And Carecas having trouble to try and contain Remizewski behind. You can see that the Ferrari is all over the back of the McLaren right now. He's going to try to potentially go for the move in the final few sectors of the race. Not in turn 14. That's not going to be the moment for that, even though Karlbom is right within his mirrors as well. We got a yellow flag for a driver that is a little bit off the circuit, it seems like. I can't really see what's currently going on. Accident apparently between the number 888 and the number 10. Number 10, let's see, that might have been a bit of a small contact. Oh, yeah, indeed, there was Ladema, who was actually having a little bit of a trouble, and those things down in P16, we see Engman as well. Some of the top 10 contenders are out of there, as, yeah, the group battle that we've seen has indeed descended into a bit of a crash with the number 10 and the number 11 car out of the contention as well. Number 11, let's actually see where it is. Number 11 of William Barboza, apparently having made contact with someone else. Sorry for not really catching up with the rest of the top 10 battle, but yeah, Adrien Stefanello is one of the beneficiaries, moving up into the top 10 positions, along with Kai Gulliver, who's up into P9. Chris Pica has not been affected so far. He's currently sitting in P8, albeit some 1.9 seconds down on Pontus Karlbom, who's all over the back, almost of Remizewski. Remizewski going wide into turn 6, allowing Karlbom through into 6th position, but he's going to remain side by side with the Ferrari all the way through turn 7. A bit of bumping in there into the chicane, and he's forced to cut Remiziewski, and that will yield P7 for Carl Baum. And now there are going to be 2 or even 3 drivers, as you can see. Chris Pica in the aerial shot of the track. Remiziewski behind Carl Baum, and now just a half ahead of him is Grantas Caracas, who's continuing to soldier on and continuing to resist the assaults of those behind him to keep 5th place his. "25 minutes to go in this opening round of the GT3 European Sprint Series. Currently, Darren Baker leading by 5 seconds from Fernando Paolino in the TWR Motorsports AMR V Advantage number 420 for Darren Baker. Then the Audi R8 LMS Evo number 25 from Paolino in 2nd place, followed by the number 911 GT3R from Jean-Sébastien Castingena from Schumi Skins Porsche Racing. Pete Ruotsalainen in P4, 4.2 seconds behind Castingena, driving the number 333 AMR V8 Vantage GT3 from Team Eiffel 65. And in P5, completing the top 5 so far, Grantas Caracas, who's under increasing pressure from Pontus Carlbaum and Gabriel Remiziewski, who tried to go alongside Carlbaum in turn 3. That's not really paid out so far, and that allows Chris Pica to try and catch up some of the lost time and try to challenge potentially for P7 or even P6 against the Haboto Corsa number 59 Ferrari and Pontus Carlbaum's Illuminate Racing number 6 GT3 AMG. Coming to the chicane of 7 and 8 right now. So far, Pontus Carlbaum managing to keep 6th place and trying to pile on the pressure on Grantas Caracas just up ahead of him. Bit of a correction there all the midway through turn 13 for Carlbaum, who keeps himself within 4/10 of Caracas. Oh, there was a late lunge on the upside from Remiziewski, forcing actually Carlbaum out wide. The move has not paid off, and actually Remiziewski is out of the race. He's in the wall. He's in the wall at the exit of turn 13. That's a yellow flag. That mistake allows Chris Pica to move up into P7 and try. And now the next up ahead will be Pontus Carlbaum in P6. But yeah, Remiziewski may be going in a little bit too hot down the inside of... There he is. Yeah, tried to make it stick into turn 13, but that's not really paid out for Gabriel Remiziewski. So yeah, unfortunately for him, it will be done and dusted. Also, sorry, we kind of went back in time to try and get that instant replay. I don't really know how to had to go back to real-time action before when we use the action replay. If someone is actually well educated in the art of actually using the broadcaster tool, then it would be super cool if you could actually teach me how to do it. But anyway, we're back with the race right now. Darren Baker having dropped a bit of time compared to even Paolino. He's 4.3 seconds ahead of his fellow teammate in the lead. Then we've got Paolino in 2nd place, and now we see Castingena in 3rd position. Half a second down on Paolino, coming through turn 15 and turn 16 right now. Caracas in P5 still resisting the assault of Carlbaum, and just behind him, Chris Pica in P7. Castingena half a second down on Paolino. He's not going to be thinking about the move here into turn 1. He's too far away from Paolino to make that happen. So he's going to bide his time and try to catch up a little bit more to Paolino before trying to set up potentially a move and an attack on Paolino for turn 1. Meanwhile, Darren Baker, we can see the reason why he's dropped a bit of time, and that's because we've got some of the back markers who are in the way of the leader right now. Paco Marchante in the AMG, who just gets out of the way of Darren Baker, and then we see Ricky Court in the black in the black number 17 McLaren getting out of the way as well. Marchante and Court are in a battle for position, it must be pointed out. So it could have very well been really costly for for Cord if he actually got overtaken by Marchante as he got out of the way of the leaders. Castagena and Paulino, the battle still continues to brew. Half a second into Sector 1. Will that gap be shrunk into Sector 2? Seems as though Castagena is able to recoup some of the time lost in the first sector into the second sector. Let's see. Yes, indeed, he's down to 3/10 now between himself and Paulino entering turn 14. Let's actually see Pontus Carbom. Oh, look at this 3-pack right here. We got Carreras and Carbom right behind one another, and then we got Pika just a little bit further behind, but not too far from potentially being able to make something happen and try to reap the benefits of an eventual contact between Carbom and Carreras. But so far, both drivers have been fairly clean throughout this particular running. Kai Kuleva has been given a drive-through penalty. It seems like, from what I could see in the ranking. Yeah, he's indeed coming to the pits to serve his drive-through penalty. Meanwhile, coming back up to Pontus Carbom. Or actually, Castagena trying to make the overtake into turn 3, trying to get the inside, but is not close enough to make the move stick. So Paulino stays in the lead. Carreras now sees potentially Carbom alongside him. Carbom's going to try to potentially yield the outside of turn 3 and try to get him around the outside. He tries to go for it. He gets forced out wide by Carreras. Carbom will have the inside, but no, he ducks back behind Carreras, and so Carreras again soldiering on and fighting off like a champion for 5th place. And you can see Pika is waiting to actually make a move on Carbom for P6. Carbom will try to go for the move up the inside, around the outside of turn 3 over Grantas Carreras, but it did not pay off. He just ran out of room with Carbom being forced maybe a bit wide by Carreras midway through the corner. You know, Castagena. Oh, Castagena potentially trying to go around the outside of turn 15. No, it's not going to pay off. He ducks back behind the back bumper of Paulino, trying to go for a move at turn 16. No, that's again a little bit too presumptuous, and then maybe a little bit too risky to go for that overtake through there. Will he try to make that move into turn 1? He's got 4/10 of a gap to Paulino. He's going to take a big braking zone for Castagena. Again, the passing does not come for turn 1. Again, biding his time. Following a little bit further down the field, we got, let's see, we've got Joachim Kjellgren, one of the early front runners in the race, who is currently under threat from John Schulze in the number 2 720 McLaren, 720 GT3 McLaren. Kjellgren down in P13 after having had a strong start where he was in the top 3 in the early stages of the race. Now he sits down in 13th place, number 294, green and white Illuminate Racing GT3 AMG. Back up to the battle for 2nd place between Fernando Paulino and Jean-Sébastien Castagena, following the perspective of the Frenchman, who has to go straight across the chicane of 8. Nadi being able to make the corner into 8th right now. You could see a little bit further in the shot, Pete Ruotsalainen in the AMRV Advantage, number 333, trying to catch up. Then 16 seconds behind, we find Grantas Carreras and Pontus Carbom with Chris Pika behind them. Adrian Stefanello up into P8. Actually, Nigel Tarin in P9 and Gabriel Remizewski in P10. Good recovery from the driver from the Hub Auto Corsa number 59, Ferrari 488 Evo, after that mistake trying to overtake Pontus Carbom. Or trying to overtake Carreras, should I say, rather. Carreras still seeing Carbom all over his back bumper with Krupika in the GTR moving away from Carreras and Carbom as he gets a lap down. We're edging getting closer to the end of this race. The last 50 minutes are upon us, ladies and gentlemen, as we're seeing Carbom and Carreras with a 2.5 gap. 2.5 gap heading into turn 1. Will Carbom try to risk it for the biscuit? He tries to go for the braking, but no, he's going to be backing out of that move. and try to go alongside him at the exit, trying to get a much tighter exit, but more speed with a wider line from Caracas will yield him P5 again. Now coming up into turn 3. Will he try to go around the outside again like he tried a few laps ago? No, oh, bit of a bump! And actually that sense, both are spinning! Carbon and Caracas have collided, and the reaping of benefits is Chris Pica in the number 911 GT3R, moving up into P5 as a result of the collision between Grantas Caracas and Pontus Carbon. You can clearly see Carbon trying to go a little bit too hot maybe into turn 3 and just giving a little bit of a bump that sent both of the cars out of control. Pontus Carbon managed to restart down in P6. Thankfully, there was not too much time lost since there was quite a bit of a gap already. But Caracas is now the biggest loser of that entire situation, having held P5 for so long. But just a small tap between him and Carbon sees him sent down to P7. Carbon has not gained any places from that, currently staying in P6. Adrian Stefanello in P8 and Nigel Tarrin in P9 are going to try to put the driver from the number 9 McLaren under threat right now for a chance at 7th position. The Lamborghini Huracan from 300 Ping Motorsport. We haven't seen that many Lamborghinis being in contention for big points paying positions here. Currently potentially trying to look at P7, but also he's got another one right behind him in the AMG number 3. That is Nigel Tarrin in the number 3 404 not found Mercedes. Meanwhile, up front, Casingena still trying to make his way through to 2nd position, trying to catch up to Paulino in Sector 1. Currently raging the gap to a quarter of a second between himself and Paulino, potentially trying to make the move stick into turn 6. Not quite unless he tries to get the switch back before turn 7. It's not really that easy to get. Wide a little bit at the exit of turn 6 into turn 7 and 8. Will he be able to keep it across the track? Yes, he will. Keeping the gap really close to Paulino. Will keep on following this battle right now for 2nd position, which is extremely close. Darren Baker is 5 seconds clear ahead of both of them in the lead of the race. 26 laps completed for Darren Baker at the present moment in the AMR V8 Vantage GT3 from TWR Motorsports. His teammate is battling with Casingena. Will Casingena try to go to the inside on turn 14? No, a bit too far behind to try and make the move happen. Potentially into turn 15 as he tries to go potentially for the switchback. Oh, he goes for it. He touches Paulino. Paulino forced out wide. And Casingena moves up into 2nd position. The move was waiting to happen. He made it happen with a little bit of bumping and boring from Casingena. A bit of a hip and shoulder action maybe. Even though there was no big swipe, there was enough to force Paulino out wide into turn 15. And thus, P2 for Casingena with 12 minutes to go in the race. Paulino down to 3rd. And Paulino is going to try to get back to Casingena. I thought he was going to go for the dive bomb on the inside of Casingena in turn 1, but it has not been that way. Meanwhile, it's actually checking on the back towards the top 10 paying positions. Stefanello and Tarrin are currently having a squabble for P8. Stefanello is trying to catch up to Caracas, but he's also at the same time trying to fight off the attack of Nigel Tarrin in the AMG behind him in P9. Will Tarrin try to go for the inside at turn 1? Not quite. They stay single file, one behind another. Oh, Caracas going wide again, trying to carry as much speed as he can at the exit of turn 1, should I say, rather. Stefanello, meanwhile, trying to find a way past Caracas, but it's not really proving to actually show itself. The opportunity is not there yet for Adrian Stefanello to try and move past the McLaren, so he's going to try to buy this time and try to catch up a little bit more to Caracas through the 2nd sector. Caracas going a bit, having a bit of a correction at the exit of turn 5 into turn 6. He's able to keep the car nice and plotted though. So still retains P7, turn 7 and 8 coming up. Oh, around the outside from Nigel Tarrin. That was ballsy, if I do say so myself, but in the end it did not pay off for Nigel Tarrin, who now falls back to within striking distance of Gabriel Remiziewski, who's trying to catch up again. He's into the top 10 position and trying to make up some moves for top 9 right now. Through turn 13 he goes. Nigel Tarrin trying to go for the absolute dive bomb. We saw from the bonnet cam, from the perspective of Adria Stefanello, he was going absolute full send around the outside of turn 7. That was never going to go for Nigel Tarrin, to be honest. Topeka again getting out of the way of the current contenders, getting a lap down. Following back the perspective of Stefanello, the gap has widened quite a bit to Caracas thanks to that somewhat surprising attempt at an overtake from Tarrin at turn 7 in the previous lap. 10 minutes to go in this race before the checkered flag waves. Oh, Stefanello trying to go for the cutback on Caracas. He has noticeably come closer to him. Will he try to go for the move into turn 3? Let's actually check in from the helicopter camera. He's a bit too far from the exit. Oh, actually, Caracas a bit wide. Is that going to be enough for Stefanello? Oh, Caracas with the inside. But Stefanello completes the move and moves up into P7 at the expense of Caracas, and Nigel Tarrin's just behind him as well. Tarrin potentially trying to go around the outside of turn 5. Not quite. Will he try to make the move into turn 6? That's not enough for Tarrin. Oh, actually, Tarrin potentially into turn 7. Let's actually see that. He's got the inside line. The move that did not pass on Stefanello could pass here against Caracas, and yes, it does indeed pass. Caracas going to force to cut a little bit off into the chicane and drops down to P9. Now it's Remiziewski's turn to try and go past the McLaren and move up into P9 himself. On board with the driver from the number 59 Hubble Corsa Ferrari 488 Evo. Tarrin just ahead of him in P8. Oh, what happened to Casingena? We had a bit of a mistake from Casingena. It seems like he's dumped down to 4th position after maybe a bit of outbraking. And Paulino, there might have been a mistake. There might have been contact between the two of them that I completely missed. And so there is going to be a new 2nd place driver in the form of Pete Ruotsalainen in the AMR V8 Vantage. 3rd place for Paulino and 4th for Jean-Sébastien Casingena. P5 for his teammate Chris Pica, 9 seconds down on that entire shenanigans scenario right here. Meanwhile, Caracas going wide again. Remiziewski with a bit of a tidier exit, trying to go side by side with Caracas before turn 3. Let's actually see the perspective from the cameras. Remiziewski around the outside. Caracas trying to force Remiziewski wide. Will he try to go for the cutback before turn 4? Not quite. Caracas holds on to P9 for now. Remiziewski's not done with him though. He does not go down without a fight. He's going to try to get that P9 out of the hands of Caracas right now. The number 9 McLaren holding strong. What could have been a P5 is now turned into damage limitation for Caracas at the moment. Let's actually see a little bit further up ahead. Adrien Stefanello and Nigel Tarrin. Oh, a bit of a bump from Tarrin on Stefanello there at the exit of turn 14. That's going to keep still the Frenchman up ahead of Nigel Tarrin, though. So, bit of a scary moment, I would imagine, for Adrien Stefanello, seeing the little nudge from the AMG behind him as we're edging closer and closer to the end. 6 minutes and 50 seconds left to go in this opening race of the GT3 Sprint Series. Currently Stefanello holding P7 with Nigel Tarrin in P8 behind him. Caracas and Remiziewski. Will Remiziewski try to go for the overtake into turn 1? It seems like it. He's got the inside line. Caracas is going to be going a bit wide. Remiziewski moving up to P9 temporarily and forced out wide. He goes Caracas. Remiziewski making the move stick into P9 right now. Moving on to turn 3. Will Caracas try to go for the move back up in the inside? Not quite. Will he try to go for the comeback in turn 4 though? Let's actually check in on that particular perspective. No, it seems as though the deal is done. Remiziewski up into P9 after a bit of a contact against Caracas a little bit earlier on in the challenge for P5. Caracas down into 10th position. As a result of that overtake into turn 1, beautifully executed from the number 59 Ferrari. Casingena, number 912, 911R in P4 right now. 11 seconds down on Fernando Paulino in P3 as we're hitting to the last 5 minutes of the race. Beats Wutsalainen, too far away from the leader to be of any threat. 7.4 seconds of a gap to Darren Baker. It's a 1-2 for Aston Martins at the moment, with the Audi R8 currently completing the podium. Meanwhile, let's actually check back in on the battle for P7, shall we, with Tarin and Stefanello. Caraccas going a bit wide in the background. Tarin trying to get around Stefanello into turn 15, not quite able to make it. Oh, Stefanello trying to cover the inside of Tarin. Into turn 16, this could very well be a showdown into turn number 1. 5 minutes to go in this opening race of the DRL GT3 European Sprint Series, and we can see a showdown right now for some of the top paying positions between Stefanello and Tarin, trying to go one way or the other, trying to make the move into turn 1. He's going to be forced to brake a bit late, trying to go around the outside, but no, he's going to have to back out of that move, trying to go for the cutback maybe. Not quite. Stefanello still retains P7 for now. Let's actually check in on the perspective from Tarin right now, trying to go for an overtake into turn 3 around the outside. No! Oh, narrowly avoiding the bump. This was this little bump that we saw into turn 3 from Pontus Karbom against Caraccas. That was so costly for Caraccas, and that was so costly for both of them, as the car is a little bit going downhill and also pitching in, so a slight nudge in the wrong place is enough to send the car spin, and that was the case for both the receiver and the punter. Coming up into turn 7, Stefanello still holding strong in P7 against Nigel Tarin, and he sees Remiziewski right now in his mirrors growing bigger and bigger. Stefanello holding on, trying to put his Lamborghini Huracan up into P7, the highest place Lamborghini of the field. Tarin, meanwhile, tries to dislodge him from that said 7th place and trying to join his fellow AMG driver Pontus Karbom, currently sitting in P6, the highest place AMG GT3 so far in this race, with 3 minutes and 20 seconds to go. The gaps have widened a little bit, with Stefanello getting a little bit of room to breathe. 0.6 of a second against Nigel Tarin in P8. Meanwhile, let's actually try to check in on some of the battles that are maybe brewing a little bit further down the field. Let's actually see. Théo Ladelma currently sitting in P12, outside of the top 10 so far, with Joachim Kjellgren in the 294 AMG GT3 trying to catch up to the BMW M6. And actually, Tarin has made a huge mistake into turn 1. Did he outbrake himself? It seems as though that is the case. Nigel Tarin is way down the order. He's got overtaken by Remiziewski and Caraccas, as well as Engman, and now he's under threat from Ladelma. Yeah, Remiziewski P8, Caraccas into to the top 9, and Engman into the top 10. Tarin well under threat from Ladelma for P11. That could very well be a move up into turn 6 for Ladelma, unless he's a bit too far. Oh no, he's a bit too far, so that will move. We'll have to wait here. Meanwhile, Kjellgren has taken the time to actually come back closer to Ladelma, coming to 7 and 8 right now. The final 2 minutes of racing here at the Hungaroring are coming up right now, and it's kicking off somewhat in the midfield with Kjellgren trying to catch up to Ladelma, challenging for 12th position. Nigel Tarin, having made a mistake whilst he was in contention for 7th position, dropping down to 11th from 8th place in the space of a few corners, but still remaining quite a bit ahead of Ladelma to not be under threat so far. 8/10 of a second between Tarin and Ladelma. Ricky Courts parking his car on the inside before turn 15, letting everyone go through. Meanwhile, a little bit further up front, we've got Jean-Sébastien Kassingena with his battle-scarred Porsche 911 number 912, who was battling for 2nd position with Fernando Paulino, but it seems like a contact between the two of them has demoted the Frenchman down to P4 and Paulino down to P3, with the main beneficiary being Pete Ruotsalainen, driving the Eiffel 65 number 333 AMR V8 Vantage. Currently sitting in P2, way too far behind Darren Baker. Even though he managed to catch a few tenths here and there, Darren Baker is undoubtedly in the lead of the race right now, driving the number 420 TWR Motorsports V8 Vantage. 38 seconds to go. We might very well be on the penultimate lap coming up right now for Darren Baker, who's been leading this race from the get-go, having claimed pole position.
Leaders on final lap now.
We are on the final lap and not the penultimate lap. This is the final lap of the race, ladies and gentlemen. Darren Baker, which we're going to be following for the final lap of this race, has been in command of this opening race at the Hungaroring since the beginning, having set the fastest time in qualifying, having taken pole position, having made himself clear of the carnage at turn 1 in the lap 1 that we've seen, and keeping himself a good buffer, working out that buffer, widening that gap, managing the gap beautifully, keeping himself nice and honest, not putting a foot wrong so far in his V8 Vantage. 2 sectors to go for Darren Baker before opening the season with a race win here at the Hungaroring in Budapest. Turn 7 and 8 coming up right now with the chicane. And jumping over the orange curbs on both sides of the chicane, going a bit wide, but that's okay for him. He does not really need to actually be worried about too much of the curbs in here, as long as he doesn't spin out of the of that particular race by taking a bit too much curb. But here we go, Darren Baker rounding the final few corners of the track right now. Turn 14, well engaged through here. Now onto turn 15, the long winding left-hander where you have to wait forever way past the midway point of the apex, something like 60%, 70% before you can get back onto the throttle. Turn 16, the final corner for Darren Baker, starting from the front of the field and having led every single lap of the race. Darren Baker is your winner for the opening round of the GT3 Sprint Series for the Delta Racing League. Peter Ruotsalainen in the other V8 Vantage takes second place, and Fernando Paolino will take third position. We'll be following Jean-Sébastien Castingena, rounding the final corner to come across the line in P4. What could have been second position has been turned into fourth place in the end. Not a bad damage limitation potentially for Castingena in this race. Chris Pica, having had a rocky start, managed to pick off his fights and take advantage of some mistakes from other players to move up to fifth. Pontus Kobom in 6th. Adrien Stefanello should be coming around in P7 right now. Any moment. He rounds out the final corner, fending off the attacks of Remizewski for P7. Stefanello finishes in 7th in front of Gabriel Remizewski. Grantas Caracas finishes in P9, and Eggman finishes in the top 10. Nigel Tarren manages to retain P11 from Timur Ladelma, who finishes in 12th. Kjellgren in 13th. Schulze in 14th. Rob Franken finishing in 15th place, being the highest place NSX in the field. Ersan Yilmaz, after being sent out of the contention for the lead, turns into 16th position at the end of the race. Jürgen Reimer 17th. Atterberg Ertan finishes in P18 in the BMW M6, followed by Oliver Schlösen in the McLaren and Aaron Dewsbury in the AMG to complete the top 20. Aaron Jackson will fend off the attacks of Kai Gulliver in the GTR to come across the line in P21. Gulliver in P22. Jesper Rölands in P23 in the Lamborghini, and Marius Schneider will fend off just Maciej Zadowski to finish in 24th, with Zadowski finishing in 25th, and Zadowski will be your final finisher, the final point scorer, should I say, in this championship. So, final results of the race. Here we go. So, final results of the race. Darren Baker takes the win with the number 420 V8 Vantage. Pete Ruotsalainen takes second place in front of Fernando Paolino, who completes the podium. Then Jean-Sébastien Castingena in the first of the two Porsches in the top 5, currently sitting in P4. Then Chris Pica finishing in P5. Pontus Kobom in P6. Adrien Stefanello 7th. Gabriel Remizewski in P8. Then P9 for Grantas Caracas and P10 for Eric Engman. Then follow Ladelma, Kjellgren, Tarren, Ladelma, Kjellgren, Schulze, Rob Franken, Ersan Yilmaz, Jeroen Reimers, Artabek Ertan, Oliver Schulzel, Dewsbury, Jackson, Gulliver, Roland, Schneider, and Sadowski will complete your 25-point scorers. So, first blood in the championship to Darren Baker, who scores the 50 points for the race win as a result of round 1 at the Hungaroring. So, I hope you guys enjoyed this very first round of the GT3 European Sprint Series from the Delta Racing League. It's been my very first commentary gig in sim racing. I hope you guys enjoyed it despite the rather shaky commentary and rather repetitive callouts, I should be saying. So, I hope you guys still enjoyed the show. Thank you very much, Nathan, for the kind words, and also a few follows that I completely missed. Sorry about that. Thank you, Zizikos. Thank you, McLean, and thank you, Sean W96. Thank you, Rosie, and thank you, Revolution886. For the follows, very much appreciated. Normally, I usually don't do these kind of, this is, as I said, this is very much my first sim racing gig here, not my last. I really enjoyed covering a really, a race where overtakes actually matter, because Trackmania is fun and all, but it's, on the end, it's just ghost racing against each other and just in search for the perfect line. Now we get to see some actual racing, and I'm excited. So yeah, I think I will be back for the next, for the next race. I think I will definitely be back for round 2 of the championship, which will be held at Imola. So same time, same channel, twitch.tv/TMGgeek will be live a quarter, like 15 minutes before the end of the free practice, with qualifying and the race to be covered. Round 2 set to take place at Imola on Saturday, December 12th, so make sure to tune in. And if you want to follow something else, I am actually going to be casting tomorrow the final phases of the competition premiership Trackmania team tournament. I'll be casting the quarterfinal between B Genius Esport Club and THE Blue. The winner of that will be playing against We Are Positive in one of the semifinals, which I will be covering at 6 p.m. 4 p.m. for the quarterfinal, 6 p.m. for the semifinal. Then there will be a bit of a break for me, and at 9 p.m. the grand final of CPS to determine which team gets crowned the CPS 22 champion. Anyways, that's been it for me. Thank you very much for those of you tuning in, and thank you very much, Pete. What's a line for the follow as well? Thank you very much. Hope you guys will enjoy the VOD, even though maybe the cast was a bit as I said, it's very much my first time here, so please be gentle. Anyways, I'm going to take it offline for today. Thank you very much for watching, and for those of you regulars, I'll see y'all next time. Godspeed, people!